Back here on WEEI Afternoons from the Ketchus Law Injury Attorneys Studios. No fee unless you win. That was Cam Newton having some fun there. We all know he is pretty bombastic, pretty energetic when he talks about almost anything.
He's a colorful gentleman.
And I feel like this is fresh meat being thrown his way. This Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini situation that was on his podcast. And as he said there, is this the Patriot way?
Ooh.
And he's alluding to Robert Kraft and his issues in Florida. He's alluding to Mike Vrabel and his issues in Arizona. And your former star wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, and his issues in California, which led to his breakup or, I don't know, were they married? Divorce with Cardi B?
No, they were just together.
Okay, so the breakup with Cardi B, because as Cam puts it, you had you're something, and you're everything all in the same building. And one was in one section, one was in another section, one was in the suite, and you shouldn't be doing it. Anyway, having some fun. And I will say this took off this weekend a little bit. Like we were talking about how it was on social media, big story, right? All over social media, big story.
This was the weekend everyone talked about it, though.
Right. New York Post was really the only publication that did anything. Then slowly The Athletic actually had their own story about Diana Rossini being essentially benched. She's not doing anything right now. Then ESPN had a story on their main headline, sources, Rossini. They're covering it more from Rossini now no longer allowed to do her job as an information woman.
It was about 4:30, 5 o'clock during our Friday show that we found out she had been suspended.
Again, but that was just New York Post. Over the weekend, even Mike Reese had a note about it in his Sunday Notes column on ESPN. It kind of blew up, and it went bigger. But Cam Newton did an extended, I listened to 10-plus minutes of the podcast where he's just talking about this.
It sounded borderline like a song.
It's
very, like his podcast, which is also a video podcast,
yes,
is very performative.
Very much so. And I don't know that I get all of it because he yells a lot like Peggy. I don't know if Peggy is the co-host guy with him, if Peggy is this fictional character, a producer. I don't know, but he yells Peggy a lot. Anyway, the other piece of audio from Cam Newton here that we need to get to is him talking about the actual photos and kind of does a play-by-play of the actual photos, the hug and how he's hugging and doing that, the pool and how comfortable he is there.
One of many people to do interpretive body language work.
And then he gets to the intertwined fingers. And let's hear what he has to say about the photos of Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini with their fingers intertwined.
Watch this.
Magic Mike and Dirty Diana, huh?
I done shook a lot of women hand in my day. The only time I interlock, we interlock.
We lock.
That type of posture right there at the pool.
At the pool posture.
He looking at it like, man, I can't wait for these chicken tenders to hit these quesadillas. I ain't condoning nothing. This is the type of foul play that you got going on. I wouldn't call it foul play. I'll call it cold play.
And they cut to a photo of the Coldplay photo there.
Yep, figured.
But his assertion, and he's in the world, right? He's in the world. He's a star football player, women, money, just like Mike Vrabel, NFL players, Super Bowls, all of that. His assertion, Cam's is anyway, if you intertwine your fingers, then you're intertwining in other ways, let's just say.
I think a lot of us that's sort of validating to hear, but I think a lot of us sort of presumed that was the case when we saw said intertwining fingers. That was a question I asked you guys last week. Like, when's the last time you greeted anyone, let alone a female friend, and did more than just like hugged, pet the head, sit next to each other, intertwined fingers? Come on now. That's I'm
not even sure pet the head is allowed.
That is a romantic move, especially not if you're who's the athlete that hit? Oh, the third baseman for the Red Sox. She's played for the Rangers as well. He was the guy you could
Adrian Beltre.
Beltre, that's right. Thank you, Dan Ball. No, intertwining fingers was, of course, the great tell, and that's the telephoto lens. And also, that's when we knew, somebody was sent there to take that photograph. There is no phone by anybody, by any provider, by any tech company on Earth that could take that good of a photograph from that far away.
That was elsewhere in their podcast. I don't know if it was before or after that. They were definitely PI, tailed, set up, trail.
Mike Vrabel and a female as they were sold to TMZ and ultimately the Post.
I think that is the misplaced piece of information in this whole story. Does that make sense to you? So if we take that on face value, Mike Vrabel was being trailed by a private investigator. When all of you people told me, no, this is Rossini's husband trying to get some dirt
That's
on
what we
her.
surmised, yes.
So those two things don't align. That's where I was led to believe that maybe this was Jen Vrabel who hired a private investigator to protect the millions in a potential divorce proceeding that could happen later. Yes, Dan Ball.
I mean, it is also easier for Diana Rossini's husband to remain anonymous in all of this if it's just some woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he doesn't call attention to the fact that he knows Rossini is there, then it's easier for us to not get to the point that he's the one that hired the PI.
But the person selling the photos is just looking for their payday. So their payday is better if they go, this is Mike Vrabel and a famous reporter from The Athletic, Diana Rossini.
Yeah, but the end goal could have been not so much. It could have been purposely low because they're like, listen, we just want these pictures out regardless. So we're going to purposely lowball just to get someone to buy them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, you can't know 100%. People can cover their tracks. People are sneaky, so you really can't call it.
And the money that he would get in a hypothetical divorce proceedings is going to far outweigh whatever, pennies that he got from the New York Post for leaking these.
For sure.
I still think that there's another measure to, if you're to believe that it's the husband, there's a whole nother measure to, okay, why was he getting these pictures? And what's the end goal?
Okay, so we have a little more information here, too, because I've noticed this. Mike Florio did a podcast on this where he talked about it, and we're now getting into how the quid pro quo world of journalism could lead to something like this. So we're going to listen. It's a little bit longer. We may do a little start and stop here, but Skip Bayless
Oh, my favorite.
kind of brings some light on how the relationship between a writer and a source could work and how it could go sideways.
I don't know what's going on exactly between, as Akib points out, between Diana and Coach Vrabel. It's not a good look. I'm going to talk quickly about something no one ever talks about, and it's the game within the game. It's the deal that gets made, the unwritten, unsaid deal between the reporter / in my case, columnist, and the star player, or any player for that matter. He's going to say to me, basically, between the lines, I'll be available for you 24/7. You can text me anytime, call me anytime, I'll return your call. I'm going to give you great quotes. Every once in a while, off the record, I'm going to give you little scoops, maybe not bombshells, but little scoops about what's really going on inside this football team.
Pause.
The deal we're
How do we end up from this to a resort in Arizona? I feel like this is a bit of a jump we're making here. Every reporter does this on every beat, right? Like you have sources and you protect your sources and they provide you information and then maybe you protect them a little bit, right? On whatever they may be involved in. Okay, that's normal. I agree with Skip Bayless. That's how the kind of whole world of journalism and sourcing works, right?
Mm-hmm. There was the whole debate this morning and this afternoon with Keith protecting his sources. And
how do we get from that, and I hope Skip's going to land the plane here, how do we get from that to a couples-only $2,500 a night resort in Arizona? Roll it.
deal we're going to make is, in return, I want your protection, where you don't write that negatively about me. If I have a bad game, you kind of gloss over that. If I misbehave a little bit off the field and I get tripped up in something, you're not going to try to run me out of town over that. In my early days, I have seen several female reporters have something with an athlete or a coach and cross the line. And early on, it outraged me because you're selling out. These women started getting scoops, like big scoops, because of their relationships inside a team. Similarly, I have seen male reporters / columnists become friends with players and coaches to the point that they socialized. And that would outrage me also, because I'm like, I'm not going to cross that line. Because
Wait, what line?
I'm gonna
Stop. What line's he talking about? His arbitrary line?
Oh, you know the line he's talking about.
No, I don't
A
actually.
sexual line. Well, so
No.
in the case of the female, it's a sexual line. In the case of the male, the example he's giving, it's, me covering a coach, and then me and that said coach going, later that night, we're going out clubbing, we're going out, we're getting beers together, where
You can't cover that, coach. then.
it's crossing a line professionally.
Oh, that line gets crossed all the time. But who sets the line? Bosses?
I would say journalism standards.
Oh, is there a book? Could you find me that book? Could you find me that specific rule book?
Where is this, by the way?
It might not
When
be a
people
law.
talk about journalistic
Big
integrity,
J.
no, seriously. When people talk about journalistic integrity, like, oh, that breaks my code of ethics, my journalistic standards. Is there honestly?
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I didn't go to journalism school, so I'm probably not the person to ask. But no, I think everybody, it's like the moral code. Your moral code is different than my moral code, is different than Dan's moral code, way different than Stiz's moral code. And we all have different moral codes. Like, That's
Sure.
my point. Some person might think dinner. Let's just keep it above board here, Stiz, to make it more easily comparable. Let's just say it's a male source with a male reporter. Is dinner, did you cross the line? Oh, we're all in the same city together. You know what? You want to come grab dinner. Did dinner cross the line? I don't feel like it did.
No.
Because that was actually part of Diana Rossini's, I think, original denial was like, oh, sources have, outside relationships all the time. What if you do what Stiz did? Now we got hammered, and we're hanging out either at a club or a strip club at 2 a.m. Did we cross a line there? Did we at least get closer to the line there?
Yeah.
I feel like we did.
Out for our drinks.
What if
Drinks
it's a
shouldn't
weekend?
be, right?
What if
Yeah,
it's a weekend now?
that's
Hey,
nice.
I got a private jet. It's the craziest thing. I'm a head coach of a team. They give me access to a private jet. You want to hit Cancun tonight, Mr. Reporter friend?
Oh, so
boom, we hit Cancun.
So
out of the country. Weekend.
Is it just a couple of guys? Is it just a couple of colleagues, friends hanging out, people that cover
we're
each
just
other?
hanging out, getting
so it's
drunk.
It's not a married man and a married woman.
No. I want to keep sex out of it so we
Okay.
can try to compare
That's
apples
hard.
and oranges.
But it's
hard
like
to.
it's like what they say about porn. You know it when you see it. You
See, I
know
don't.
you have crossed the line when you cross it, right? When you and the subject that you're covering start developing a friendship so true and a bond so true that now I expect you to go easy on me. I expect you to feed me information.
That's
like,
the
I
expect-
expect because
whoa.
we are friends.
But that's the expectation no matter what. When these relationships start, Stiz, that's the expectation. I give you some. I help you. You help me. That's the way this works. That's the way it works for Schefter. That's the way it works for Rappaport. That's the way it works for everybody. That is how this works behind the scenes, and I'm not as familiar. That's how it works in the city beat, the White House beat, right? Like we protect each other hand in hand. You watch.
And there's
my
a lot
back.
of line crossing that we don't know about there as well.
Correct. This one just happens to sort of slap us in the face with a visual of the lines that got crossed and who crossed them.
Was that just because the coach came in and preached about all the standards and everything, and then
That's part of it, but
became
more-
high profile when he went to the Super Bowl?
Accountability.
Accountability.
That's a secondary
bleep that
layer
gets
to
you
it.
beat.
Great decisions on and off the football field.
Okay,
Great
represent
ones.
the organization and everything you do. We can list these things that he has said that now look differently in hindsight, but I actually think this would have blown up almost regardless who the coach is. Like if a high-profile, successful coach was going with Diana Rossini, I don't think
Because
it's just
of her
because it's Mike Vrabel.
If it was Liam Cohen,
yes, I think it would have been
it
notable.
would be big. But Vrabel is honestly, you can say he's like
Yeah, he
he's
went to the
reached
Super Bowl.
He rocketed to A-list celebrity status over 6 months' time.
We said he was the face of the franchise. 617-779-7937. We'll continue to talk about this situation that is not going away. We thought maybe it would go away. It is not going away. It's actually a growing problem, not a going problem, as they say in men's ad sales. It is an issue that Mike Vrabel did not deal with today at Gillette Stadium. There was a press conference. He wasn't a part of it. He was mentioned a little bit. We might play some of that. That's next here on WEEI Afternoons.